Greetings, everyone. It's me. That's right. On my last video, where I covered some subtle environmental details in Elden Ring that some people might have overlooked, some people posted comments with, well, rather interesting suggestions for other details that I should investigate. Today, I wanted to go over those and maybe share my personal thoughts on their findings. Also, if you feel like sticking around to the end, I'll be going over some ideas for what I'd like to do with my channel and ways I can connect better with my viewers to see what you all think. However, if you'd rather just stick around for the lore bits, I understand. With all that being said, let's begin. User Jim Jam posted a comment saying, I noticed that within Radahn's tower, and I believe a few others, etched in parts of the stone wall appear to be small tapestries depicting the creation of beastmen. There is an embryo-like figure in the center that seems to have a grotesque spine and dog-like legs. Now, I couldn't find any tapestries matching this description. However, I wonder if they may have been referring to these bas-relief carvings. Now, I do believe that the creation of beastmen is a facet of this depiction. However, I personally feel there's a bit more going on here. If we look at the full picture beyond the beast creature at the center, the carving seems to depict a tangle of branches or vines, some of which taper into these scaly patterns towards the bottom. Personally, I think this might be a depiction of the Crucible, the fire from which all life sprang in the lands between. Once upon a time, there was a much stronger connection between creatures like the beasts, the dragons, and the misbegotten, as all life was mixed together in the Crucible, a kind of nascent form of the singularity formed by the Chaos Flame ending. And as time progressed and the greater will spread its influence, life and order became more divided, and eventually the Crucible gave way to the Great Tree, and in turn the Erd Tree. I'm still personally on the fence that these trees are that different, but that's a story for another time. Also, it's worth noting that the scaly tail-like designs at the bottom are rather similar to the fishy tail of the Death Prince Godwyn. I don't know if there's a firm connection there, but I felt it was worth mentioning. Alternatively, it's possible that this is a depiction of how the Erd Tree came to fruition in the first place. I mean, we see a mass of tree-like branches with a singular beast at the center, much like the mysterious Elden beast held inside the Erd Tree. Incidentally, while I was investigating this tip, I noticed something else in the Divine Tower. Many times in these towers, specifically when I'm activating the Great Runes, I've noticed these unusual wall ornaments that looked like a nondescript smoldering mass of rock embedded in the walls. Something always seemed off about them to me, but I couldn't articulate it. Now, however, I noticed the frame around the smoldering mass. Encircling the object are 8 circles. At first I thought this might link up with the amber medallions, but the numbers didn't match up. What does, however, is the number of great runes. Godric's, Rykards, Radahn's, Morgott's, Mohg's, Malenia's, the Unborn, and Ranni's, which of course we learn through Gideon that she cast away her great rune. So, if we count hers amongst the other shards, that makes 8. So, this begs the question, what is this smoldering mass at the center meant to represent? The Crucible? The Flame of Ruin? I mean, it kind of looks like the Giant's Kiln. Or could it be the falling star that brought the Elden Ring to the lands between? Next is a detail that I feel is a bit more obvious, but I think it's worth addressing nonetheless. In the Halig tree, you may have noticed these statues of this hooded figure in various locations around chapels and tombs. Matthew Ramsey says, All the hooded statues with the sword pointed vertically into the ground, I have reason to believe, are St. Trina, aka Mikola. This was actually something I had thought about some time ago, but since Matthew brought it up, I thought I'd give it its own spotlight in this video. These figures are very prominent around Mikola's Haligtree, and it's hard to ignore the possibility of some significance to them. I agree that what makes the most sense is this being a depiction of Mikola. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, but Mikola was a child, as you repeatedly pointed out in the comments of my last video. And yes, I am aware. However, just because Mikola was cursed with eternal youth does not necessarily mean that the depictions made by his followers will be faithful to that fact. These statues may not be intended to emulate the literal physical form of the young Empyrean, but rather the persona of his influence and divinity as seen by all of the people who found refuge in his Haligtree. And this non-literal depiction is only further complicated by the issue of St. Trina, who is hinted at in the lore, and basically confirmed by cut content, to actually be an alter ego of Mikola. Thus, the identity of St. Trina is canonically ambiguous as to conceal their connections to the Empyrean. The number one thing that I think designates these statues as depictions of Mikola are the items they hold. Matthew describes them as swords, but that's not quite right. To me, they look more like giant needles, which we know from Millicent's questline. The unalloyed gold needles were tools crafted by Mikola to ward off the influence of outer gods, like the god of rot. This final one I think is particularly cool because it was staring me right in the face and I never even noticed. Walker Bragg says, "You can see the visage of the twin bird on the wall when you first get teleported to Farum Azula." Now, I was a bit skeptical of this one at first, because given the fact that many dragons can be seen to have feathers in the lands between, and there's certainly enough dragons hanging around here, I assumed this would merely be a depiction of the ancient dragons, or maybe even Placidusix himself. However, upon viewing the wall myself, I think Walker might be onto something. Take a look at the twin bird kite shield. Its description reads, "Shield featuring a vividly painted twin bird. The twin bird is said to be the envoy of an outer god, and the mother of the death birds." Now, comparing these two designs, they are indeed very similar. While the wall carving could still potentially be dragons, I do feel they look just a little too bird-like. These designs are not without their differences, however. Both birds are facing opposite each other and looking effectively in the same direction of their bodies. However, on the shield, the birds have their wings splayed, while the wall carving simply shows their bodies. The shield is lacking the noticeable flower object featured in the wall carving. However, one could argue that this is represented by the dividing line between the quadrants of the crest. And finally, the wall carving birds are lacking the small dual plumage featured on the heads of the shield birds. I can't be certain that this is indeed the twin bird, but it's hard to deny the possibility. And it is very possible that these minor differences between the designs are negligible. If we accept this theory, though, what does that mean? Were the denizens of Farum Azula death worshippers? That could make sense given the presence of beings like Malekith. But then, what is the connection to the dragons, who also seem to call this place home? And something else I thought about while pondering the twin bird kite shield. It refers to the twin bird as an envoy to an outer god. Now, setting aside the question of which outer god, what does it mean exactly by envoy? Was the twin bird a vessel avatar equivalent to Marika? Or was it a vassal manifestation like the Elden beast? Maybe the truth was burned away long ago in ghost flame, known only to the death birds now. But wait, there's more! Hey, you stuck around to the end of the video. So, bear with me, this last stretch is going to be a little disjointed because I'm just kind of doing this one off script, so please be patient with me. My channel's been getting a lot more attention lately than what I expected. Only maybe a month ago, if even that long, I only had maybe 40 subscribers, which most of them had probably forgotten about me. And now I'm sitting at around maybe 519 subscribers at the time of recording this audio. Honestly, since I started uploading all of this Elden Ring footage, things really popped off, in particular around the time I uploaded that Good Mages Use Eternal Darkness video. Holy shit, that 83,000 views, what the fuck? Anyways, so the point is, channel's kind of been growing lately, and it kind of caught me off guard, and I just wanted to touch base with some of you all about things I have considered possibly doing with this channel, moving forward, see what you all think you might be interested in terms of engaging with the channel. Someone in some of my comments recently mentioned something about me playing with fans. They used the word fans. They implied that I have fans. That gave me an existential crisis. I'm flattered, but just kind of put things in perspective for me. I'm not sure if I think of myself as the type of person to have fans. But, that being said, they asked if, I played with, PvP with fans, if I was willing to, add people to my PSN, and I don't necessarily know if I'm willing to, add people to my private PSN account, but I definitely like the idea of, engaging with people, in videos and in streams, maybe a little bit like Bloodborne, Elden Ring, PvP, co-op, things like that, or I with Monster Hunter Sunbreak coming out, I'd definitely be down for, maybe, if people were interested, streaming Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, open a lobby with viewers that could join. But the thing is, since I only have 500 subscribers at the point of making this video, I can't make community posts until I reach 1,000 subscribers. And I don't really feel like adding randoms from the internet to my PSN. No offense, I'm greatly appreciative of your interest. It's just, I'm generally kind of a private person for the most part. So I wonder, would anyone be interested in joining a Discord server for the channel if I were to open one? That way, it would give me a way to engage and communicate with viewers and, see what they might be interested in from the channel, get them involved in, projects and stuff, like Monster Hunter lobbies, things like that. And, but it would be a nice, communal place that we could engage without me having, add people to my private friends list. Is that something you all might be interested in? Let me know in the comments below. And also, on the subject of streaming, recently I did a test stream and it was okay. The problem was my streaming setup is kind of... it's basic at best. All I really have at my disposal is a laptop and an Elgato capture card. So my audio is questionable, my frame rate, I can't get much more than a lovely 30 FPS. So I don't really have the means at the moment to do really nice streams for people. I don't have a big beefy gamer PC like some of the other kids. On that note, I was wondering if I were to open a Patreon, do you all think that's something you all would be willing to become a part of? I'm mostly just doing this for fun. I'm not really out here trying to, like, make money off of this. I have a day job. If I don't make money off of, like, YouTube videos, guess what? I'm just gonna keep doing the same shit I've always been doing. But, you know, if people did want to, like, contribute to the channel in some way, then I could potentially be able to get better equipment so I could make much nicer to look at streams, you know. And while I'm not really doing this for money, if people are watching the channel and going, hey, I like you, would you like $1? I certainly won't say no. So yeah, I just wondered, you know, if I were to open a Patreon, do you all think you might be interested in that? Again, let me know in the comments down below. That's really all I have to go over. If there's anything I didn't go over that you all think you would like to see, or rather things you think I might find fun to do for the channel, let me know. I'm curious to see what you all think, what it is about my channel you like. And I guess for like an example of something I'd like to do at some point with the channel, I had some ideas for some fun challenge streams that might be entertaining, especially if I could get some friends involved. One idea was basically a Nuzlocke run, but of Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, what that means? Hard mode, permadeath, no using the time rewind mechanic whatsoever unless the game forces you to. If a child soldier dies, then that's one dead kid. The other idea was a stat randomizer run of either Bloodborne or Elden Ring. Basically, anytime we would get points to level up a stat in the game, we would roll a die to see which stat gets leveled up, which would mean that it would be borderline impossible to make any kind of an optimized build, and we'd just kind of have to see where the dice take us in terms of character build. Do those streams sound like something you all might be interested in? Or at the very least, it might be something I'll end up doing as like a video series, if nothing else. Let me know which of those you think sounds more interesting, and yeah. So again, you know, thank you all for checking out my channel. I'm glad you're enjoying my stuff. And yeah, if you want to see more, hit me up. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you'd like to see more, like and subscribe, I guess. Cheers, Tarnished.